Have a great event, everybody.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today and give this presentation. As already was mentioned, this is actually the third one in this series. And for some of you, some of the concepts may be not familiar. So I highly recommend maybe go back to the previous two because we also created video recordings and watch them. So everything will be more clear after you watch those videos and then continue with this one. However, some of the concepts will be new today. So it's also a good idea to just to be very patient and kind of flexible, right? Even if something could be really shocking to you, just go with it and just try it on, and maybe do some research afterwards, because that's how we should process new information. So again, about me, I am a certified master NLP practitioner, and this particular content I developed over time, also based on my own experience. And what I really want to focus today on is relationships and how we create them, right? Because there are a lot of misconceptions about just meeting the love of your life, and suddenly things get worse, and you break up and you wonder what happened. What really happened. And what's really interesting, when you ask people, so tell me what happened, no one really tells you this: I was such a bad person, I mistreated my partner, I was nagging, I was demanding, I was just not consistent with my behavior, and the poor thing left me. Good for them. So no one usually tells you this side of the story, right? It's usually it's them. They did all the bad things, and I had to suffer, and it finally ended. So, however, we all know that we have expectations from a partner, right? From a partner in a relationship, what they should do, but we are not really aware of our responsibilities in the relationship, right? What we have to do to make it a successful relationship. So I know another myth is that we just want a partner who will accept us the way we are. And very often it's not possible, especially in the nowadays in our culture, when we have so many different mixed messages, even from our parents. We get maybe outdated ideas about how relationships should be. So the main idea is that we have to know how to create relationships, right? And maybe learn some tools. And also, unfortunately, no one teaches us how to do that. So again, I'm really glad we are having events like this, so we can learn about tools that could help us, and not just to follow our instincts, right, in a relationship. Because the first instinct is basically to please the partner, right? Okay, if I just please them, they will not leave me, or they will stay, they will appreciate me. That's not how it works. You should not give too much, because at some point the person will not appreciate it. You should, however, focus on meeting their emotional needs in a relationship and having your own boundaries. Again, what are boundaries, right? It's basically the ability to say no to a person who you may be in love with, madly in love with, but certain things, if they violate your values or trespass the comfort zone, you should pace yourself and pace that person. And yeah, if the person is not happy about it and will say, oh, I'm gonna leave you, well, be it, because you do not want to be with a person who does not respect your boundaries. Quick presentation. If we have time, I will show you a really interesting video about responsibility, basically, in the relationship of each partner. And also, if we have time, we can do a small meditation. So with that, let me just share the screen, and I will go over the slides. So usually when something is not working in the relationship, you may not even know what is actually not working. And there are main seven steps, and they could be roadblocks. And that's why it's recommended that if you don't know yourself what it is, actually maybe going to a coach or therapy and ask the expert what they think is the problem that may be stopping you. And the problem could be unconscious, that you're absolutely not aware. But usually, if something again not working, it's one of these seven, and we'll go through them uh, in the presentation. So the first one is actually energy types, and what that means that um, when we as individual looking for relationships, it's usually we're looking for this missing energy in another partner. So if both partners have similar energies, the relationship will not be able to sustain itself. They will clash and they pull away just because the energies are not meant to be together. So one of the partners has to make the energy either more feminine or more masculine, right? To be able to coexist with the partner and be in this fulfilled relationship. So, what exactly does it mean, the energy, right? The energy is basically certain characteristics, the way we respond, and it's manifested through the needs, emotional needs of the partner. And basically, the way we act to something the partner does and react to the lack of it or presence of it. So basically, here you can see that you can learn more about this in the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And one thing is actually to just read it, right, and understand it. And the other thing is actually practice it. And I'll give you an example. Recently, I spoke to a friend of mine who mentioned to me that she's in a 2-year relationship or on and off with a man who she says that she really loves, but it's just not working. And I kind of probed with several questions, and then we came to emotional needs. She said, yes, he says that I'm okay being friends with you, but I don't want to be in a romantic relationship with you. And every time they try, it doesn't work. So when I asked her about emotional needs, whether she behaves as feminine energy he's looking for, she said, "Tell me exactly what it is." And I told her, if you look on the left side, left column, that's what male energy needs. It was basically do not criticize the partner, admire their achievements, do not provide unwanted advice, and say thank you. Really appreciate little things that the person does it, and trust their way to, find solutions. Will work. You don't have to change it. And she looked at me and she said, I know all of it, but I'm not doing it. It's not my nature. That's not how my parents are, and that's not how they raised me. And you see, that's the main idea. Now she knows where to look at, because you may still intellectually understand all of that, but your nature may be sabotaging you because you will be doing things differently, and it's not helping. So again, the majority of problems come from this area. However, the next slide is about not really understanding the stages of the relationships. And I just want to quickly show this slide, which people start doing things for the other partner at different stages that do not match the level of commitment. And what it really means that female energy and masculine energy, and in today's society, anyone can have any energy, right? But then you really need to look for a partner that would complement yours with theirs, which is, opposite. Um, at the meeting level, the masculine energy subconsciously is looking for biological, kind of attraction, physical attraction. And then the female energy is more analytical in this way. They're looking for a list of qualities and a match to their qualities. And later, they come into this emotional uncertainty because there is no commitment at this stage. And some people, again, make mistakes because they immediately fall in love, or they immediately ask for commitment, stop seeing, other people, it's just you and me, and we see each other 5 days a week. And it's not possible at this stage, especially for masculine energy, because they need time to develop emotional attachment. And also, they're not looking at the partner in this way, like long term right away, even though they may be very impressed by the partner and also in love, but that's not how their nature works. Because first, they need to get attached and kind of on this intellectual level, at the third exclusive level, learn more about the partner beyond the looks, right? Then they actually may progress to this spiritual stage when you actually share deep secrets, right? And you talk more about values and maybe future steps of your relationships. And then for feminine energy, what's really interesting, even though I know some women say, oh yeah, we're looking for attractive partners, this is true. However, this is not subconsciously your first instinct to look for a partner long term based on, I want physical intimacy right away. You usually go from kind of intellectual level, okay, all the qualities, okay, how does he make me feel? And then obviously kind of like fall in love with the body of the person. So this is very different. So again, through the uncertainty stage, no commitment should be, assumed. No matter what promises were made, they may not be, really fulfilled at all, just because of the nature of this particular stage. And obviously, after spiritual, this is growth and a transformation. And I'll give you a little bit more explanation about that. Also, this slide may look familiar. Here are three main lessons that usually attraction happens on all four levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, right? If something is really missing, this relationship may not be long lasting. And also, if one quality is really important to you, right, but it is missing in the partner, it may also be, not as easy for you to continue with the relationship. And also, not everything should be similar in you and your partner. This is because relationships need polarization. When you're identical with your partner, there is no interest left. There's nothing to make it long lasting and kind of full of sparks, right? You need some kind of opposing views or behaviors. And again, not something obviously detrimental to your relationship, but maybe differences of opinions, right? That's why this is really important. We should not overlook that. So now this is another view of the progression of the relationship. And I will only mention a couple of things. So when we meet the other partner, right, in the dating stages, there's obviously infatuation. Basically, a very limited view of the partner based on our imagination, right, our past experiences, and maybe, this, little bit of an intro the person gives to us. So this is just a fleeting stage because it will definitely go into next steps of saturation. When you see this person, quite a few times, you start noticing not so positive qualities, kind of red flags, and sometimes it may be too much. Like, okay, we saw each other quite a lot. So now let's take a break and just think about things. And sometimes the disgust happens because one of the negative qualities may overwhelm all the positive ones that the person has. And that's why this is kind of the low level of relationships, the dating part. Then, however, if we transform, like we go further, right, into this stage, let's see, we go to tolerance. So in tolerance, even though we see negatives and positives in the person, we learn how to either forget or kind of accept the things that we don't like, right? And then start respecting the qualities that we really admired and all the good qualities that we liked about the person, and maybe even discovering new ones. And obviously later it goes to friendship, when this person from a stranger, right, and just becomes actually a really good friend. And obviously with the physical intimacy, there is a potential to go to the seventh stage, which is true love. So here, what is more important on this slide is that at each stage, masculine energy and feminine energy behave differently. And I already mentioned a couple of things, but I just want to kind of highlight here. So again, infatuation, we only see positives, right? And masculine energy, again, this happens subconsciously. That's why you may not even realize that. But when they find a partner, they're so excited that they like what they see, right? And again, it's more on a physical level. Then they really try to impress the object of their affection, and basically, like, very excited, very blindsided, pursuing and not thinking about long-term consequences, right, or mixed signals. Female energy, however, is actually, trusting, learning about the partner, really interested and wants to spend more time, kind of get all the information possible, and, believes a lot of promises that are made, maybe, during those, very passionate moments. And, biological desire kicks in to nurture, to open up, and almost like protect or pay back to the partner. That maybe like maybe more motherly instincts kick in, which should not, because a child is a completely different person than a partner. And obviously, they're opening up and dismissing red flags. The next one, however, let's see, satiety or saturation, right? When the masculine energy wants to pull away, and it may happen and come back and pull away and just think things through and discovery of flaws, and suddenly all the red flags are clear, and the feeling judged and not accepted is really evident. And obviously the doubt that the person has the ability to make the person happy long term, and sometimes reverting to usual ways of less effort. While feminine energy also kind of starts noticing weaknesses, right, and not very desirable qualities, and attempts to change the person, okay, and really wants to keep the affection, and really notices now differences between words and action, okay. So besides positives, we see negatives. So now at the disgust level, positives almost disappear because we stop seeing them, and they kind of seem very minor, and the negatives like blown out of proportion. And basically masculine energy is overwhelmed with negative messages that they're not accepted the way they are, feeling pressured, performing, and not sure if the person is compatible in the long run, because the pain of staying in is now higher than the joy of staying in. It's easier to just leave because of fear of not being accepted. And then the feminine one basically is disillusioned about positive traits, focused on negatives, overwhelmed with inconsistent behavior, and increases intensity of messages and making demands and ultimatums, right? And really misses honest communication because feels that a lot of things are not said, or sometimes it was a lie, but it's not real, and it obviously feels betrayed. So here we actually move on to tolerance and respect. And obviously you can see now we start seeing both positives and negatives, but also there is this transformation part that's happening because we're learning something about ourselves that we didn't have before, right? For example, the ability to tolerate certain things. And we're kind of not comfortable, but we were finding, our peace with it. And obviously we learn about ourselves something and about the partner, right? When we tolerate certain things and we decide to focus on respecting them and actually respecting ourselves. And here, what is really helping here is good communication skills and empathetic listening, right? What is not working for me, and maybe saying to the partner that I cannot do everything for you. I cannot tolerate this particular thing. We need to decide what's going to happen, right? How are we going to work on this? And basically, that's where compromise happens. And also, they're learning to trust. And then obviously accepting weaknesses, and basically supporting, cultivating, and nurturing each other. And then at the final steps, the transformation happens so much that you already, focus on this kind of new state that almost everything about each other. You know how to make each other happy, and you know how to support the other person, right? From maybe do something that is not really good for you, but it's really good for the partner. So they almost like part of yourself, and then you really care for them this way, not just as a friend, but almost as part of you. Basically, wishing for the best for the other and help each other grow. So again, I already mentioned all of that, but because it is a lot to kind of consume at once, I just want to maybe reiterate certain things. That again, male energy sometimes acts out of character to pursue, right, and impress in the beginning, and not behaving authentically. They may do something extraordinary that's not their nature, and they don't think about consequences because it is biological. So the first stages to impress the woman, get the attention, for example, and then decide later if the person fulfills the emotional needs, is on intellectual level, the acceptable, if it's going to work long term. And female energy may be confused by that because they think that everything is, from day one, everything is solid. All the promises should be made. And there's disappointment when certain things don't happen, not understanding that uncertainty and biological kind of, desire and passion rule over the certain situations. So most important thing is pace yourself, right? Pace yourself. Try to match words to actions, right? And really, really keeping your boundaries, because again, just saying that, I cannot do certain things, and I don't want to compromise, my own values, and just to keep this relationship going. I can do certain, other things for you to make you happy, but these things I cannot. And I think the most important is that yes, fear of losing the partner is really big, but we do need a partner that really respects us, right? And also we need to respect ourselves if they're not capable of doing that, right? We need to teach the person. We need to communicate that what is working for us, what is not working, and basically, allow obviously some time to get through all these stages without jumping, skipping some, or going in reverse order, because biologically that's not how it happens. But after we go through the first stages, again, this kind of divine part is happening. And I really like this one, that there will be times in your life when you have to choose between being loved and being respected. Always pick being respected. That love without respect was always fleeting, but that respect would grow into real, lasting love. And again, for some people, it may be very new, because every no they say to a partner, it may be like very offensive, or it's betrayal, what it's a sign that you don't love me. That's not how it works. The more you know your own, value, you have your own self-worth. And it's about all energies, men and women, and transgender. We have to have this core within ourselves that we have to protect ourselves. The person who said to you, "I love you till the end of our lives," may really leave you tomorrow. And you have to take your own responsibility protecting your own heart, your own body, your being, and basically create your own happiness in this life. And the next one, let me see if we got to this part. Okay, so that's another thing when I mentioned in the beginning that we try to love the person the way we want to be loved, and it's not working. In this book, The 5 Love Languages, Gary Chapman said that a lot of people, after they got married, within a few years, love disappears, and then they break up and get divorced and wonder what happened. Everything was ideal in the beginning. And it turns out that the couples, they revert to their own love language after they get married because they feel more comfortable. There is no pressure. So they start giving to the partner what they want to receive from the partner themselves, instead of asking the partner what do they want, what is love to them. And he categorized them into 5 groups. You see those. And what is recommended, that you ask the partner what is love to them, and there is a test online. And basically, when you learn what it is, you ask how often they want to receive that during the week, for example. So it's not once a month, you have to do it several times, maybe a week. But there is a concept of love tank. So when when your tank is full of love, when you were receiving certain things that you believe what love is, when something goes bad, the partner maybe makes a mistake or forgets some things, your love tank kind of becomes smaller, but it's not empty at least. So we have to give in the language of love of the partner, and those are compliments, right? Maybe helping around the house, acts of service, quality time, hobbies, or spending time together, maybe vacationing. Obviously, maybe some small gifts. Doesn't have to be great gifts, but little tokens of appreciation and physical touch. So this is a really important part that a lot of people forget. We came to the presentations almost end. Now we only have the short video and meditation. So at this point, I will ask maybe Haya to stop recording,